Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, Logan, aka Suburban Yinzer. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about Civil War ammunition. So approximately from the 1850s to the 1860s. And what does that have to do with Pittsburgh? Okay, what does Civil War ammunition have to do with my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? So I'm going to just tell Yins, thank you so much for your patience, especially all of you around the world, Americans and Europeans alike, for enduring my videos the past couple weeks. I know I went off track a wee bit off of American history and Pittsburgh history in general. I'm sure that some Europeans that view my channel are kind of like, oh, thank God the Yanks done talking about our homelands. Okay, I will admit I'm done. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about my ancestors' history and what they were shooting in the Civil War on both sides. Okay, not just the North, not just the South, not Pennsylvania, not Virginia. Both sides of my family were shooting at many of the famous battles like Gettysburg. Beloved place. I love that. #1 place in the world. Gettysburg. Okay, if Pittsburgh's #1, Gettysburg's #2, without a doubt. So anyway, here we go. Here's some things Yins probably didn't know about Civil War ammunition. Okay, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, from 1861 to 1865 was literally the headquarters, the HQ of the production of cartridges. Okay, and if Yins don't know, this is a cartridge. Okay, this is what the rounds and the powder were put in when they were jamming them down the barrels in the battlefields of Gettysburg, Antietam, Manassas, or Bull Run, Chancellorsville, Chickamauga, Shiloh, I mean, anywhere. This is what the troops were jamming down for the most part. Okay, this is a generic, non-black powder. Okay, this is not full of black powder. This is a blank, basically. This is like fake news. This doesn't exist. This is just for show and tell. Okay, but this is what, particularly the North and the South, what would jam into their barrels, especially the North. Now, what does that have to do with Pittsburgh? Well, many Yins probably don't know, especially Yins in Pittsburgh. This is something I learned over the years looking up my ancestors' history and the region's history, that there was a place called Allegheny Arsenal in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, located in the present day of Lawrenceville. And that is where my mom's ancestors are from. Not during the Civil War, but post-Civil War in like the late early 1900s. My ancestors lived in Bloomfield, Lawrenceville, Oakland. That's my grandfather's side of the family. My mom's dad's side of the family, to be specific. Because many Yins that are familiar with my South Side roots, you're going to go, whoa, I thought Yins are from South Side. No, that's my dad's side of the family. My dad and his ancestors are South Side. My mom's mom and dad, Brookline, Bloomfield. Okay. Anyway, the Allegheny Arsenal. Mostly young women and boys were working there at the time, and they were producing cartridges. They were producing the cartridges which contained the Minaball and the black powder that were jammed into the barrels and then expelled out to the enemy. So, on the same day as the Battle of Antietam, or aka Sharpsburg for Yins down in Dixie. No, that Yankee's wrong. It's Sharpsburg. I know, okay? Stop it. No, what I mean? I'm a Yankee, okay? And for Yins in Europe that don't know what that means, Yankee is the term that the Southerners use against us to refer to us as Yankees of north of the Mason-Dixon, you know what I mean? People from the South are like, I hate this kid. But anyway, so, on the same day as the Battle of Antietam, September 17th, 1862, a huge explosion occurred at the Allegheny Arsenal in Lawrenceville. 78 people died. 54 were never identified. Okay, and I've never visited the Allegheny Arsenal, where it is the present day location of it. I've never visited. It'd be a cool video. And I should visit the graves in the cemetery of the people that lost their lives, the men or the women, the girls, and the boys that lost their lives in that explosion. But it's crazy to think that the same day as the Battle of Antietam, one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War, before Gettysburg, Antietam was #1, the Allegheny Arsenal exploded because all this gunpowder was on the ground. So if you lit a match or a spark occurred and it hit that black powder, boom, And that's essentially what happened. I can't imagine what my ancestors, especially in Southside, would have thought, my dad's ancestors, when they were chilling out on like a random day on September 17th, 1862, and a huge explosion occurred in Pittsburgh. It was probably ridiculous. Windows probably exploded or shattered. It was probably nuts. But regardless, so during the war, the North alone, especially Pittsburgh, contributed a lot to this, produced and acquired over 1 billion rounds of small arms cartridges. 1 billion of these were produced by the North. So if any of you are down in the South, okay, I respect you guys, okay, without a doubt. My ancestors are from Virginia. I got Dixie blood running through my veins, but I'm just going to flex a little bit on the PA. We will outproduce anybody, and we proved it many times, not just the Civil War, World War I, and World War II alone. Germany, Japan, and Italy couldn't even keep up with us in World War II. Think about that one. So during the Civil War, we produced our region, the North, produced 1 billion of these. I can't imagine what Pittsburgh produced. Pittsburgh probably produced millions of these. I mean, just alone in the Allegheny Arsenal, and the city alone. So regardless, let's talk about... Okay, so I'm sorry for bragging on Pittsburgh, but I have to, okay? I have to flex a wee bit just to show you how great my city is. But anyway, so what people are probably thinking to themselves watching this video, Yins are probably going to say, Logan, get to the point. Stop trying to flex on the PA in Pittsburgh. Let's go. All right, okay, a little bit of ADHD here. So this is a Manet ball. This is what they were shooting at each other in the battles of the Civil War, right here. This is a 54 caliber round. As you can see, this is on the track of the modern day bullet. Okay, so as you can see with the cartridges, you can kind of see a little bit of a significance when it comes to what's in the cartridge, okay? Grab this part, bite it. You jam it with your ramrod down in the barrel, okay? You put the percussion cap on the hammer. Put the cap on the hammer while this is stuffed in the barrel. See, the black powder is facing the percussion cap. The hammer comes down, bam! Explosion. Very primitive stuff, but genius. Okay, if you think about it, it's amazing. The powder hits this, boom! This thing is expelled. This object is expelled out of the barrel. Boom! Like this. Wow! It's spinning like a football. So that's what causes it to be straight. 54 caliber round flying through the air. Could you imagine? It is estimated that over 7 million small arm rounds were expended just at Gettysburg. Just at Gettysburg. 7 million of these little things were flying through the air for all 3 days. So my ancestors on both sides. Imagine this. My dad's ancestors from Pennsylvania. The Southside boys. Pittsburgh. Were shooting these across the battlefield, and my mom's ancestors from Virginia, from Massey's Mill, Nelson County, Virginia. Those Dixie boys were shooting the same thing like this, but don't be thinking that this was the only thing flying through the air. This was also flying through the air as well. 69 caliber balls. Okay, so what's the difference between this and this? A Manet ball and just a regular musket ball. What is the difference between these two? Well, let me just tell you. It's pretty self-explanatory if we examine it. This is the primitive form of ammunition. But you're still at the point in the 1700s, this is very modern. This is innovative. When you shoot this out of, let's just say, a musket, okay? Smoothbore musket. So this does not have rifling. Most of those muskets were not rifles. They were just smooth tubes. This thing is not going to be as accurate because, look, it's banging not like this, like maybe like a ping pong, but it's moving a little bit. So when it comes out of the barrel in the 1700s, in the American Revolution in 1812, this thing is going to be like accurate for a wee bit, and then it's going to go off course, and it's going to go whoop like that. You know what I mean? You were shooting here, but it's going to go whoop like that because it moved at a couple hundred yards. Now, what's the difference 75, 85 years later in the Civil War. Now the barrels are way tighter and they got rifling. Rifling is this engraved pattern into the barrel that's like this. So what happens is when you shoot this Monet ball, it's spinning in the barrel and it's tight. So when it comes out of the end of the tube, it's spinning like a football. Now what's innovative and what's amazing about this piece of machinery or innovation is that when my ancestors were shooting this at each other, basically, let's just generalize the Monet ball, these things were flying through the air. So let's just take Gettysburg. Boom. Flying through the air like this. It's spinning. Could you imagine this hitting like right in the shoulder? And it impacts. Oh my God, 54 caliber, dude. This thing is like a freaking what was I going to say? A monster. A monster. You just probably say, you stutter? No, I don't stutter. I just stutter when I'm trying to think. So this thing is spinning like this, and it hits me right in the shoulder. Boom! I'm propelled back, right? Now, it ain't done yet. When this thing enters the body, so here's my skin, it's dragging all of my clothing. And think about this. Those guys didn't wash their bodies too often back then. So when this goes, this is the bone. It goes like that. Could you imagine that? So it's bringing in all the bacteria, the viruses, the germs, the dirt on your uniform. And let me just tell you, in the 1800s, especially, during the Battle of Gettysburg, those guys weren't washing their clothes every day. Okay, they weren't putting them in the washer and the dryer and going, Those guys were filthy. Okay, my ancestors on both sides were filthy. They were barbarians when it came to cleanliness. And they didn't know nothing about bacteria at the time. The leading developments in the very risque theories of microscopic organisms was not even really mainstream yet. Antibiotics were non-existent. The only thing you would do was boil water, burn, like fire or heat, or alcohol. So they didn't really know about the invisible enemies of every man on the battlefield. So when this thing hits your clothing and it brings all that clothing in, it's dragging in all that bacteria, all of those germs into your body. These things in the Civil War alone, because of the accuracy of those rifles, could you imagine how many guys lost their lives? Not because of this, because of the bacteria it dragged in. That's what's amazing about it. That is what people don't talk about the Civil War. The medical, scientific aspect, okay? And that's what I think about because I was raised in a medical-minded family. The bacteria, the germs, that this thing dragged into your body, like this, and you just dragged all that bacteria. So even if you would have lived, even if they would have, removed that, you were like this, with no arm, that bacteria is still running through your bloodstream. And I would know because my great uncle, Reinhard Christian, was shot in the kneecap at the Battle of Second Bull Run, or Second Manassas, August 30th, 1862. He's 20 years old. Shot in the kneecap. He's from Southside, of course. Gotta brag. And he died a month later because of an infection. They amputated the wound on September 21st, and he died September 23rd. Because why? Because of the bacteria that this thing dragged in. Who cares about the accuracy? Who cares about the lethality? Understand the bacteria, the germ, is the enemy of every soldier on that battlefield. Gray and blue. Don't matter. Don't matter if he's a Virginian. Don't matter if he's Alabama or Georgia. It don't matter. It don't matter if he's from New York or Boston. It don't matter where he's from or who he's fighting for. You get shot with this. Boom. Bacteria is your number one enemy. Because if this thing don't don't do it cleanly, you're not going to live too much longer with the bacteria going through your bloodstream. And that's the thing, is that when you take into account the difference between this and this, between the ball and the Manet ball, and you see the advances of military technology and innovations from 1776 to 1861, just the cartridge alone, the concept of the cartridge, the self-containing cartridge with the black powder, the Manet ball inside, put it in there, jam it down, boom, know what I mean? It's genius. Ultimately, it's amazing innovation. And so, at the end of the day, I didn't get into specifics about the rifles and which rifle did what and what caliber, and I didn't get into the specific things. This is just basic primitive understanding on 1700 and 1800 technology. If you think about it, it's amazing how far we've come in military innovation and technological advancement. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope yins enjoyed it. So anyway, peace out. Have a good day.